Before we begin today's video, I'd like to give a shout out to two of our newest subscribers, Bodissimo10 and Dustin Honey. I know I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. I do apologize, Dustin. But in either case, thank you both for subscribing, and welcome to the family. And now on with today's video. Greetings, my dear viewers. It is I, Dreon, and welcome back to Pathfinder Hero Flux. That is Flux, short for Fluctuation. This is a parody series off of the Dungeons & Dragons character conversion series, where, just like in that series, I take characters from across media and convert them into a playable character. But for here, we are doing it for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And today we are doing a recommendation from Nigel, one of our subscribers that I had butchered their name last time. Thank you for correcting me, Nigel. They had recommended Jack of Blades from the... is it really hit when I've never played it? Probably is. If you have been living under a metaphorical rock like I have, you probably don't know this franchise. Fable! Hailing from the land of Albion, which, according to the wiki, is a mirrored version of the real-life Great Britain. Fun fact, Albion is actually the old name of Great Britain. With either case, I'm rambling. Let's go ahead and start this build. With our starting stats, we'll get an increase to our strength, dexterity, intelligence, and charisma. And now for one of the hardest parts of this build, and that is the fact that Jack of Blades is actually an entity of the Void, which I actually had to pull up the wiki article, so let's go ahead and take a look at what it says about the Void. Extremely little is known of the Void's nature, though it is described as a place of constant chaos and has the effect of poisoning mortals with an unknown illness like it did to William Black. It was ruled by the Court, which is the Queen, King, and Jack of Blades, for an unknown period of time and is apparently home to great legions of creatures or demons. In addition to being the home of the Court, it is also a source of corruption and the darkness, and home to the Corruptor, the Temptress, the Devourer, and the Crawler. Now, I would like to point out chaos being the key term here, which is going to fit in with our heritage, not our ancestry, because with our ancestry, we are talking about the host of Jack of Blades, which could be just about anything, since Jack of Blades is the mask, not the actual host. Even though that Jack does have the ability to transform into a dragon during his final boss battle in the game, which thankfully there is a spell for that dragon form, which is a spell that you are probably going to need to keep note of, as it comes in the spell lists of Arcane and Primal, and only those two, unless you take on the Draconic Bloodline Sorcerer, and perhaps even having certain deities. But with any case, the ancestry that we're going to pick for our version of Jack of Blades is going to be the ancestry human, since human are the main race, and probably only race, within the Fable universe. But our heritage is going to be the Gonzi, who are beings who have been touched by the primal chaos, which is why we picked it. The void is a place of chaos. Being touched by the primal chaos turns you into a Gonzi. We got that? Awesome. Go ahead and increase your dexterity and your intelligence each by 2 points. Your starting hit points will be 8. You have a 25 movement speed. You get the heritage trait of Gonzi. And you also have the ancestry feat, Gonzi Gaze, which gives you, currently, low light vision. Moving over to our background, we are going with the Doomcaller. This is because it's the only background that makes sense for the Jack of Blades, as he is a being who is trying to end the world. In his case, set it on fire, but either way, ending the world. Doomcaller. Closest thing we got. I mean, you probably could go with Touched by Dark. Probably should have went with that instead. Touched by Dark seems a bit more fitting. Doomcaller is what we're going with, though. We're going with a +2 to our dexterity and +2 to our intelligence. For our trained skills, we are trained in occultism and star lore. We also get the feature Stellar Misfortune, which is honestly a pretty good feature. Now, for our class. According to the Witch's template, you are a vessel of your patron, or you act insubordinate to your patron, which actually works perfectly for the Jack of Blades, since once again, Jack of Blades is inside the mask, who takes possession of a host, who is technically the character we are playing as. We are now possessed by Jack of Blades. We talk for him. He talks through us. We are his vessel. That being said, go ahead and increase your intelligence by 2. We get extra hit points equal to 6 plus our constitution modifier. We are trained in perception. We are trained in fortitude and reflex saving throws, and are an expert in will saves. For our skills, grab acrobatics, athletics, deception, diplomacy, intimidation, society, and stealth. For your attacks, you are trained in simple weapons and unarmed attacks. For defense, you are trained in all armor and unarmored defense. For your patron, go with Rune. This will give us the arcane spell list. We'll be trained in the Arcana skill. We'll get the Hex cantrip, Discern Secrets, and the granted spell of Magic Weapon. We also have access to Familiars, which isn't really necessary for Jack. We also have Hexes, and our Witch spellcasting has a spell save DC of 17, with a spell attack of +7. Moving on to level 2, we get our class feat, which is Rogue Dedication. That's right, we're going straight into Dedication, and nothing speaks to me more than the Rogue Dedication. This will give us trained skills in Thievery and Religion, give us a free skill feat in Charming Liar, and we also get access to the Surprise Attack feature. For our skill feat that we get normally from leveling up, we'll get Quick Jump. Moving on to level 3, Expert Skill in Arcana, and the general feat of Incredible Initiative, which will increase our initiative by 2. Moving on to level 4, for your class feat, grab Sneak Attacker. This will get you Sneak Attack, and you also get the skill feat Catfall. At level 5, go ahead and increase your Dexterity, Constitution, Intelligence, and Wisdom. Your Intelligence is going to be increased by 1 since we're already going past the 18 mark. For your Expert skill, go ahead and increase your Deception to Expert. For your Ancestry feat, grab Haughty Obstinacy. Obstinacy. That's a hard word to pronounce. You also get access to Magical Fortitude. Moving on to level 6, you'll get the class feat Conceal Spell and the skill feat Bon Mot. At level 7, go ahead and increase your intimidation to expert, grab the general feat of weapon proficiency, and you also have access to expert spellcaster. Moving on to level 8, you now get the class feat Rites of Convocation, and the skill feat of Courtly Graces. At level 9, your occultism skill has been upgraded to expert status, and will get the ancestry feat Ganzi Gaze once again, so we now have access to dark vision as well as low light vision. We also have access to lightning reflexes just for being level 9 witch. Going to level 10, go ahead and increase your dexterity and intelligence each by 1 point, while your constitution and charisma will be increased by 2 points. We are now trained in performance. During our first interaction with Jack of Blades, he is introduced as the Hero of Heroes during the tournament. He is able to play himself off as some sort of hero, even though he is trying to destroy the world. You gotta have some form of performance as well as being good at deception, which is why we went with those 2 skills in the first place. Next is our class feat, Uncanny Dodge, which gives you Deny Advantage. You also get the skill feat, Intimidating Glare. It's rather intimidating. Doesn't really need to say anything to intimidate us, even though he does just for the fun of it. Going for level 11 witch, we are now masters in the Arcana skill. We'll grab the general feat of Thorough Search. Go ahead and grab alertness and weapon expertise as well. At level 12, we'll get the class feat Quickened Casting and the skill feat of Quick Coercion. Level 13, we are masters in intimidation. We get the ancestry feat Shadow Pact. We also have defensive robes and weapon specialization, just for being 13 level as a witch. Going over to level 14, our class feat will be Rite of Transfiguration, with the skill feat of Group Coercion. After all, you're able to trick many people into thinking that you are the good guy, and probably even trick people into thinking that the actual hero is the real villain. So having something to coerce people, or to have people work for you, definitely makes sense. Moving on to level 15, go ahead and increase your strength, wisdom, and charisma each by 2 points, and your dexterity by 1 point. We are now experts in acrobatics, and will grab the general feat of Die Hard. Since we are now level 15 witches, we are a master spellcaster. Level 16 gives us the class feat Evasiveness, and the skill feat of Aura Sight. We know the hero is related to one of the heroes that had taken us down in the past, so makes sense for us to know Aura Sight. Moving on to level 17, we are now experts in athletics. We'll get the ancestry feat of Devil's Advocate, and we also have Resolve. Moving on to level 18, grab the class feat Effortless Concentration and the skill feat of Arcane Sense. We're able to find our magical sword. I think it was called the Sword of Aeons. So we need something to tell it's actually the real deal and not some sort of counterfeit. Moving on to level 19, expert skill in religion. We'll grab the general feat of Numb to Death. We are legendary spell counters at this point and have access to Patron's Gift. And for our final level, level 20 witch, go ahead and increase your strength, constitution, wisdom, and charisma each by 2 points. Get the class feat of Split Hex and the skill feat of Powerful Leap. And with that being said, that is all the time I have for you today. I do apologize for the inconsistency in video uploads. There have been some things IRL going on that are outside of my control. But hopefully I can eventually get things back on track. Stay tuned for next week when we take a look at a dedication video for our US soldiers and other military forces. Forgot the word for a second. In celebration of the American holiday, July the 4th. Been a while since I did one of those dedication videos, and I'm sure that I can figure out a Pathfinder build, but we are going to first post a build for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for these soldiers, since I've already got 2 others in the D&D style. But don't worry, I will eventually have one for Pathfinder. It's just going to take a while since, well, you have to look at a bunch of feats. A lot of feats. Sometimes that is a blessing and a curse, Pathfinder. Anyway, that being said, I do hope that you enjoyed this video. And until next time, this has been Drahon, and I am offline.